sketchy weather today. Hope it doesn't start raining. I was gonna go see a little event. And what did I read today? How about this one? It was kind of interesting. As you know, there's a disaster in the US with Hurricane Helene, and apparently there were people using drones, I guess, to try to find people, drop off supplies. But I guess there's US officials telling people, don't fly your drones. That's generating a lot of controversy. Here, this one is by the US Department of Transportation. You can see it right here. Drone pilots, do not fly your drone near or around rescue and recovery efforts for Hurricane Helene. Interfering with emergency response operations impacts search and rescue operations on the ground. For more information on temporary flight restrictions, follow the FAA drone zone.
Our goal is to make sure that funding is no obstacle to very quickly getting people the relief that they need and deserve. There's also some safety issues that come up. For example, temporary flight restrictions to make sure that the airspace is clear for any flights or drone activity that might be involved in helping to allow those emergency responders to do their job.
So the reason why this is controversial is because apparently that area isn't getting much support overall, just in terms of, let's just say, funding, or they lack the manpower. So you'd want regular people to help out, correct?
I am literally flying around in a civilian helicopter looking for SOS messages carved in the mud or painted on the ground, and we're dropping down and saving them. What got me fired up about this was yesterday, me and my team did the rescue of that 11-day-old baby. And all these government officials and social media, they're showing that video, that pictures and video of that rescue, and claiming that like they have some like government helped with that. And I mean, even USA, I think it was USA Today, wrote an article about it saying it was a Florida National Guard that went and got it, like with a helicopter. No, it was me, my buddy Charlie, and a civilian named Zeb with his own personal helicopter out of Wilmington, North Carolina. Like, without that civilian, that baby would be dead. And the old lady we went and rescued after that, she'd be dead too, because she had 1 day left of oxygen.
The reactions from people, which is kind of interesting too, like this guy writes, yep, better not use your own low-level drones to find survivors. Instead, wait 3 weeks for FEMA to maybe come along and look for the bodies. I want to remind everybody that actual FAA regulations are that flying your small drone under 400 feet from the ground level for non-commercial purposes is totally legal. That wouldn't be true if they actually have a no flight zone per se, like what they imply that they did. And it keeps going on, for example, saying, except they have exemption of during a national emergency, which they have declared on all that area. Because they're saying, for example, even traditional manned aircraft, people are getting in trouble apparently anyways, and it says, don't fly your drone there unless you want to be arrested and fined $1 billion. FAA just suspended a man's private helicopter and the man's pilot's license for saying he was going there to rescue people. So in advance of him doing it, they have issued a temporary suspension on and against him. People, be extra careful of your YouTube posts and other social media postings. They are watching us. And some people are accusing them of doing this because they don't want people to document the situation. That's one of the theories. Like this person here says, isn't this the exact way they handled the Maui fires? There's only one reason to censor and prevent the public from knowing what is happening, and we all know it. The question is, do we comply or do we do what is right? That's a fascinating topic because that actually happened here in Canada anyways with a flood. If you guys remember way back when they had the interim orders, they actually had all these ridiculous over-the-top regulations, and one of them specifically was, do not fly over natural disasters. And there was actually a flooding around the Quebec area, and people were using their drones anyways to record and document the situation. People in the media were actually showing the footage to help people, and then you have the transport minister come out. You'd expect him to say, hey, stop doing it, it's dangerous with that narrative, but you'd sound like a complete hypocrite, correct? So he comes out and he says, oh, we just highly recommend you don't fly your drones, because how would that sound for someone trying to condemn someone using something that's just helping people, correct? It's that point I often bring up. People always say, oh, this is for safety reasons. The drone could, for example, crash into airplanes and all that. But how about the other way around, when people could actually use it to help save lives and all that? That actually happens more often, it seems like anyways. I guess in relation to this, actually, apparently, again, they haven't been providing much funding. And there was like this one here, it says, Mayor Cass warns FEMA doesn't have enough funding to last through hurricane season. And then there was all these viral videos, for example, I believe of the current people in charge in the US saying how they're gonna offer, I guess, the victims $750. Can you imagine that for this situation? I mean, only $750, you're stopping regular people from using a tool to potentially save lives. I don't know if these breakdowns are accurate, but everyone's writing down how much they spent in other areas. For example, like this person here says, so far this year, the United States has given what? 24,400 million to Ukraine, 11,300 million to Israel, and so forth. Yet here, these victims in their own country are only getting $750. And it makes you think too, what would you do in this case? You could save a life, for example, but you're, quote, breaking the law because you're flying your drone, for example, in a safe way. There's no rescue people around or other aircraft. Would you do it? Or would you say no? Fear the wrath of, for example, the fake gurus, the lobbyists saying, nope, it's dangerous. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but you'd be surprised how many people still advocate for stuff like this when people could actually save lives and all that. With that said, this story, for example, sounded like there was a drone operator that actually had authorization and all that to use their drones, but apparently there were a lot of people doing pretty much the exact same thing in areas where there is no help. So it makes you wonder, like this one here says, help from above. Hurricane Helene has wreaked havoc up and down the eastern seaboard and even east as far as Kentucky. North Carolina has been battered with high winds and up to 30 inches of rain, washing out roads, bridges, and clearing homes off the side of the hills. So as you would expect, it's almost impossible to drive through various areas. And it says, Great Bend native Sam Thier, a 2006 GPHS graduate and the oldest son of Greg and Jane Thier, has made his way to the ravaged area to help as well. Their representative for Bestway AG is a drone specialist, and he will be directing missions of search and rescue as well as air deliveries to areas that can't be driven into. Thier pulled a specialized drone trailer equipped with lighting and electricity and a drone with a 12-foot blade span capable of carrying up to 120 pounds of cargo. He also has a thermal-capable drone used to locate people by heat signatures and then coordinate with law enforcement. He has a waiver from the FAA to fly his drones for emergency aid. These are actually delivery drones, Thier said. We'll be able to deliver food, water, medical supplies, medicine, you name it. We are linked up with Samaritan's Purse and they will be directing us. They will take us where we need to be so we can start flying supplies in and out. So this would be the ideal scenario when you actually have people available in the area to help out. Now in that case, I can see how people can say, hey, you're getting in the way and all that, but how about people doing the exact same thing in areas where there is no help? Should they not be allowed to do that just because they say, okay, no fly zone now, just because you may get in the way of the emergency personnel when there is nobody in certain areas? To me, that makes absolutely no sense. What would you think of that? All right, see you guys later.